Mental Training 101. And now back to Get Warrior Tough with Andrew and Dutch.
Dutch, I feel like I've been sparring here the last half hour, man. We're hitting them pretty hard. I apologize if we've come over like that, but, it is mental toughness, not, a vacation.
Hey, look, we're here to help. We didn't say we were here to make people feel good. We said we're here to help.
Yeah.
It's two different things.
Hate me on the back end. We were talking, my boys and I were talking about, one of my my oldest son was getting like a deep tissue massage or whatever for his, getting loosened up to get to the Citadel. And he was getting worked over, and he's like, man, I was sore. I almost came off that table. And then the second day it was sore. Like, yeah, right. So whenever you're doing that deep tissue massage, you think, oh, a massage is going to feel so good. Man, it hurts, right? And then it hurts for the next 2 days if you're not just getting like some baby oil slapped on you. If you're getting an actual deep tissue sports massage, man, it'll mess you up. And that's kind of what mental toughness is. You'll feel way better. We're working the kinks out, but, it's not like the spa day mani-pedi with cucumbers on your eyes, and some aromatherapy.
Yeah, it's especially if you're in the early stages of it, because we're getting rid of a bunch of stuff that your body's used to, your mind's used to, and it's not going to be comfortable. But once you get into the flow, and this is what you do, then what you're doing is you're improving, you're adding value to your it's like a spit shine, like it's something that's already clean, and you're putting a spit shine on it. But right now, you're getting all that day one dirt off of it,
Yeah, right. You got to break it down. Yeah, you got to clean it, get the rust off and all the corrosion, and that really is true.
And it takes some scrubbing, it takes some digging, it takes some elbow grease, it takes some of that stuff to get that out. So that's where you are. If it's painful right now, that's where you are. But pretty soon, it's gonna feel really good. You're gonna feel really good about it. You're gonna feel some pride. You're gonna, like, you're looking at that vehicle that you just watched. Now you're putting the wax on it. Now you're adding accessories. You're putting the kit around it, and you're putting the tinted windows on it. So you're adding stuff to something that already looks good.
Yeah, and in our advanced coaching group, the Praetorian Alliance folks, that they've been with us they've all at least gone through the 12 weeks, and I think the ones that are in the group now, they've been with us for over 6 months or whatever, but they're really, the ship has turned. They're seeing the results. They've changed they made the course corrections. And in life, it takes some time, because what you're dealing with in life right now is pretty much a result of the choices and decisions you've made for like the past 5 years, if not longer.
Absolutely. And so you can't expect 12 weeks to change that, but what the 12 weeks will change that we've seen, and this is not something we're speculating, this is something we've seen. When you over the 12 weeks, when you begin to build and develop that new process, you're going to see changes occurring. And if you're in it, look, if you're blessed and you're way ahead of the game, you can even see some life-altering changes as far as your business, monetary, all those things. That's not anything that anybody's going to guarantee, but you may see those things right away. But in the first 12 weeks, you're rebuilding your process. You're developing your understanding, you're learning, and all those things are happening. But the advanced group, I'm telling you right now, they're seeing monumental change. They're seeing changes that you can. And again, I never want to put money. I never want to put things like that on the forefront. But you see building type changes where you see another story go on the building. So right now, in the beginning, you're trying to build that foundation, right?
Yeah, and a lot of it is like
establish something.
Yeah, a lot of it is like the civil engineers, right? They're building that grocery store across from the high school where we live, right? And so it's taken them forever to clear the lot and get the drainage right. And it feels like it's just been forever. Now all of a sudden, the steel went up and the roof went on, and now the parking lot got poured, and it's just like now it's all happening at one time. But for like a year, it seemed like nothing was going on except they're moving mud around.
Absolutely, but now you're adding the deck. When you're in the advanced group, you're adding a deck. You're adding another story. You're adding another wing. Like you're seeing things that are substantial happening as a result of the foundation that you put in 6 months ago. And so all those things begin to come together, and you get the fruits of your labor, and you're saying, wow, I remember when I first decided to do things that way. I remember when I changed my thinking that led to this, that's now leading to this. So again, the advanced group, there are things that we're having discussions about now that wouldn't have happened 6 months ago, that wouldn't have happened 8 months ago. It would have never happened if they hadn't have made a decision 8 months ago to come on board with us and get things right.
Yeah, and it's really starting to get fun for you and I as coaches, because the advanced group is kind of like, we're with the black belts, right? Which is, it's also, every stage is fun. It's almost like having kids. Like my wife and I used to say this, that every age is the best age. And that's kind of how I feel about all of our coaching clients. Wherever they are in the process, it's the best spot in the process. I've seen such great stuff happening in all their lives. All right, so go ahead, Dutch.
We get to celebrate. I mean,
Yeah.
we get to celebrate when they celebrate something great happening in their new. You build a new business and then you reach these different milestones. We celebrate because we were there before the business was even built in some cases. So now every milestone is our milestone as well.
It is. It's really, it's so cool, and it's fulfilling, and and that's our definition of success, is fulfillment plus happiness. And so now this week, Dutch, even in the last couple of days, I was having a conversation with somebody, and they asked me this question: how long should I stay in a job that I hate? Right? And I thought, well, I need more information. How do you mean, right? So then we're talking, and then they asked me, have you ever stayed in a job that you hated? I said, well, like, did you ever hate the training at the Marine Corps? I'm like, yeah. I mean, yeah. Not that I hated the training in the Marine Corps. I knew the Marine Corps had what I needed, but there were definitely days that I did not like everything that was getting served up to me in the Corps. But especially when I was in uniform, when I was a uniform cop in D.C. before I became a federal agent, a special agent, I was a federal officer in uniform. I literally hated that job, but I did it for 3 years. And the reason that I did it for 3 years, Dutch, is because I knew I had to do it for 3 years before I could qualify to be in the pool to even get the job as a special agent.
So your target is what mattered.
Right. See, I had a target.
And see, when people ask these questions, that's the first thing you got to ask them. What's your target?
Right.
Now, if that crappy job or that crappy situation is on the path to your target, then that explains, first of all, the why. Why you're even doing that, because you got to get through that to get to that. So you got to go through some things. Now, the worst part of it is when people are in a crappy situation, they have no target, they have no reason that they're doing what they're doing. They have no reason to accept anything that they're going through. They're just in a bunch of pain for no reason. That's worse. Because if I'm going through medical school, for example, and I know on the other end is I'm going to be a doctor, then I feel really good about these crappy hours. I feel really good about me studying all the time because I know
the massive debt and the student loans that you're racking up.
Absolutely. Yeah. But if I'm having horrible hours and I'm working around horrible people and everything stinks, and I haven't even identified a reason, a why, a target, an end date, an end game, that's when you're really talking about misery right there. And that's where most people are. They haven't figured any of that stuff out. They haven't pointed their sights on anything, but they're in the midst of what. And there's no reason that we need to be doing those things. So how long are you going to stay in that? Well, you tell me. That's so we're not going to tell you how long to stay anywhere. We're going to find out where you're going. We're going to identify that first. Right. And then we can come back to that question, how long are you going to stay in this? Because we're going to establish a target, which could establish a new path, which that path may no longer need that crappy job. So then you're going to create an exit strategy that's going to get you into a job that does get you to where you're that does hit that target. And so that answer to that question can be immediately, or the answer to that question can be, well, look, buddy, you're going to have to do this for another year until you can place yourself on this path to this other target, but at least you have an end in sight. At least there's a target. At least there's an end game, something that you don't have right now.
Right, and it could be 2 years, it could be 3 years, it could be 10 years, right? If you have a target. Remember, and Dutch, when you and I, we were in the studio together like this past winter. Remember you came down to my house and my wife made you that big plate of cookies and I didn't get none?
Absolutely.
You remember that, right? Well, we were doing a thing. We were doing a thing for weight loss, gladiator training for weight loss, and gladiator training for stress control. And one of the coaching lessons that we did, we quoted Muhammad Ali, who said, I hated every minute of training. This is what Muhammad Ali said. I hated every minute of the training, but I thought, you know what? I'm just going to do this and become a champion and live the rest of my life as a champion. This is what somebody who, see, the problem with people who hate their job and they're going to quit. Okay, where are you going to go? You're just going to get another job that you hate? You're just rinse and repeating the same issue, but you don't have a target. If you want to be a champion, you got to pay the price, because having a great life does not come at a discount, Dutch. There's no family discount on having a great life. And I know people say, well, they inherited their money. People, and I've been around, the people that inherited their money, there's like this immense self-esteem issue that goes with it, because they know they didn't earn it. They didn't do anything to accomplish anything. It was just handed to them, which is why I'm very careful not just to hand stuff to my kids. Okay? But if you don't have a target, if you don't have a long-term, the ultimate target, what's the 10-year, 20-year, the 50-year plan? And as people know, they hear me talking about my 300-year plan. In 300 years, I have a 300-year plan. If I have to go through 10 years of garbage to get me closer to my target, I'm fully prepared to do that. And I went through 3, fully prepared to get to my target, and people look at me and they say, you have such a great life, you had such a great resume, you have such a, you've been blessed, you've been lucky. Yes, yes, yes. But I paid my dues, and I did the things that I had to do to get there, right? It didn't just happen because I was, quote, quote, lucky.
Amen, brother. Amen. I couldn't have said that better myself. And when we use, and we have to be careful using others as measures. I mean, we have to be really careful. Number one, no matter how much you think you know about those individuals, you don't know nearly enough to know. Because there's a ton of things that may not be being revealed to you. There are a ton of issues, concerns that they themselves have, like Andrew just kind of alluded to. They themselves know. They're worried. They're scared. They know that they lack the skill set to probably really appreciate what they have, and they're waiting for it to all fall apart because they know they didn't earn it. And at any given moment, it could be taken away, or any first sign of trouble, they could lose it all. They're dealing with all those things as well. You may not know it. So your best thing is not to be concerned with them and comparing yourself to others. So your driver needs to be internal.
Right.
It does not have to have anything to do with anyone else or anything else.
That's why
Yep.
I that's why I hate competition with other people. I compete against myself and only myself. And it's unwise to compare ourselves with others. Dutch, we're up on a break. I can't believe how fast this segment went. When we get back, we'll pick this up where we left off. You're listening to the Get Warrior Tough radio show with Andrew Wittman and the Dutch Coleman.